Well, New York Republican lawmakers are calling for greater public safety measures and introduced an anti-crime bill to directly address what they call the failed and dangerous policies of the past. Marcia Augustin with our news partner WNY has more.
Assemblyman Paul Palmisano says this legislative colleagues and law enforcement officials, along with him, are sounding the alarm on criminal justice reform measures. They introduced their Restore Order package, which they say is crucial to curbing violence.
Many times, dangerous individuals are given more of a priority or are more looked out for than crime victims and their families, law enforcement, and at the expense of public safety. And that's what we were trying to focus. We were trying to put on with the press conference today.
Republican representatives from across the state are sounding off the alarm in Albany about the state criminal justice reform measures. Assemblyman Palmisano says violent offenders are being put back in our streets where they are often reoffending. He says many citizens no longer feel safe in their communities. So him and his colleagues held a press conference to have new legislation put in place.
And we're seeing a really high rate of people reoffend, dangerous individuals being put back on the street. And so we have a whole host of proposals that we put in place or are offering to help make our communities safer.
And they want to offer a number of possible solutions that could be helpful. At the top of that list is
restoring judicial discretion back to our judges, because right now they're prohibited from taking into account the dangerousness of the individual and the impact they could have to the safety of a local community.
The leader of the Republican conference presented these statistics.
Just recently, New York City released a report on their supervised release program. Granted, this is not a state program, but it's based on similar to the bail reform that we see in this state. 28% of those individuals who were freed were rearrested on felony charges.
Senator Palmisano added he's not saying there shouldn't have been changes to bail reform. However, he believes the DAs and the law enforcement should be involved in these discussions. Next steps, he says, in order to push this bill forward, they need Governor Hochul to act on it.